In 1987 or so, I came into contact with the writings and speeches of John Stockwell of the CIA. One of the things that he said was what he got from a lot of the meetings as he worked his way up was that people were just lying all the time. Well, you might wonder about how I got mixed up with the artists who backstabbed me. You see, when I was a child, I tried to write a poem about it once. I said, I used to curl up in my corner, torn to shreds with hurt and fear, or at least I'd try. But it seems it was too much to grant me. I guess you thought I'd get away with a flight of fancy. I would feel this incredible longing for somebody to understand me, to see the pain I was in. No one ever did. I latched onto In the Wake of Poseidon, which is smarmy, emotional music by the Rabbit, but I believed it was sincere until the people who brought me in contact with Stockwell also introduced me to people by whom I met a singer from New York. And when I wrote a song, she sang it beautifully. I said, "You must have really liked that." She said, "Well, it was sincere, but I'm paid to sound sincere." I just, because it sounded like, so I got the message that these people can just work your emotions. They're theater people, they're drama people. And what you get from all of it is that they lie, and there's nothing rock bottom sincerity to them. And when you get one of these really tippy toe teetotalers like the Rabbit, you think he just like brags about his super sublime sincerity and he's just playing you. That's what became obvious over time. I mean, let's look at a good example with the Gurdjieff cult pulled with tagging me as someone who they were saying they were gaslighting with the AIDS virus. First of all, it's wrong to gaslight somebody, especially somebody who's been tortured, about anything, much less something as serious as that. And the gaslighting escalated to poison, to sexual abuses, to psychotic cruelty. And they released the COVID-19 attack. So they were lying. Their claims were BS all along. And so, anyway, you wonder how could I have been so misled by them? It was because of the overall tone of sincerity that you think, they you meant since they meant something to me, and I did everything to keep up with them and showed some character, in my enthusiasm. I thought that maybe they're genuine people who are returning something. I wouldn't want them now. I mean, they're too cruel. They're too sick. It's too sinister. It's too evil. I don't want anything to do with them. But they're really they've confiscated. They have stolen. My life was stolen by the people who robbed Carnegie Library and sold $6 million worth of books. They stole the book of my life and tortured me. And they scribbled this psychopathic thing by Gail Burston all over my neck. Well, the thing is they wrote that to begin with. They didn't find anything. They were zooming around the planet promoting Found Art because they were promoting the plan to find it themselves. And why would they come after me if they were sincere people? They should have gone after her. Nobody in the right mind, they keep saying it would have been easy for me to figure out. Nobody in the right mind thinks I was a million light years away from the idea of having anything to do with John Lennon. It's criminally insane to superimpose that on me. So it's a whole tabloid system that comes from Her Majesty's secret BS. And like I used to, you be sincerely, I don't think even my worst enemies doubt that I'd like them. Yeah, I hesitate to say the word love because I despise them so bitterly now. Because I wouldn't want anybody to think there's any legitimacy to loving them. You know, But what I'm getting at is the time before all of the hair splitting idiosyncrasies and stuff, I was deaf. They had me down at Claymont, and I tried to put up something that was hard to explain on the bulletin board with the demonstration project. And one of them comes running at me, erases it, and says, "What you did was wrong. I want you to tell me that you understand that what you did was wrong." What did I do that was wrong? I wrote on the blackboard. Nobody else was using it. Yeah, and what's the problem? And they convoluted it. I mean, I was in tears, obviously crying. This person I had gone to great lengths to try to associate with was rejecting me over something that was grossly biased against me. Could you explain it clearly? Nobody asked me that. I'm deaf. I'm confused. So I tried to carefully write on the blackboard what my point was. I still remember it. I don't really particularly want to get into it. But it was right. I mean, I looked it over. I talked about it later with people. I was obviously right. I mean, what I was saying was true. I don't want to play into the Svengali element of the last lesson that I was reflecting on. Because it's all the rabbit's crack and bull. But I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to exonerate myself by proving that I was right. I could easily do it. In fact, I will. I'll explain. He gave this diamond with a cross in it that he called a tetrad or something. They said, up here go the music, and down here go the audience, over here go the industry to put them together, and the fourth thing that you get is the music that reconciles all this. Was this big word. So I had these, ball joints with struts. I took a triangle. I said, this is the musician. I took another triangle. This is the audience. And then realign them and put them together, which is the industry. And you end up with a four-sided triangle. And the fourth side is the music that reconciles everything. See, I wasn't wrong. I just said, you're using an appropriate geometrical metaphor. In fact, I put a light so that you could see that what he was using with the diamond with the cross, and it was the shadow of the tetrahedron. Arguably, he could have said it's actually an appropriate metaphor, but it's a shadow of the tetrahedron. I wasn't expecting somebody to realize that, or maybe he didn't realize that. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't care, but it was. I'm just trying. I'm not trying to exonerate myself. I'm trying to explain the situation that led to my being rejected. I don't want to be accepted by them. I'm 61 years old. They stole my life. They tortured me. People who read over, I have no friends because what they did to me is absolutely unbearable. To the very few people who knew me, who cared about me, absolutely cannot bear what has become of me because of this double cross. And they're the most popular people in the world. They can do it. They can lie and dispense with what with everybody else and still ride to the top of the cherry tree and say, "I never tell a lie. I never tell a lie."